Hello and welcome to Man Cave Media. On this channel I talk about beer, sneakers, tech, and toys. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Also, please connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at media.mancave and on Facebook and Twitter at mancavemedia.org. And finally, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, please check out the League of Sedentary Gentlemen. We're available wherever you get your podcast or direct from our website at man-cave-media.org. Alright, so I got all the new HiFi stuff set up and the speakers are nice and wore in, so I am ready to give it a review and also a comparison to my previous setup. Let's go. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is the setup of the new equipment. The only real drawback that I had was the RCA line connector that they include, that Jamo includes with the S810 subwoofer, is comically short. And so you're gonna see in a clip that I'm gonna do with everything set up, where the subwoofer is that's not its final place. That's just where it is right now because the cable's too short. I need to buy a longer cable. So that's not, I know before you get down in the comments and tell me how bad that placing is, I know that's not where it's gonna go, man. That's just a temporary spot because I need a much longer cable. Other than that, setup was very straightforward, very easy. Got everything going. Little head fake on the subwoofer. At first I thought it wasn't working. I thought it was broken. I didn't know that there was an extra switch for on. It has like a little toggle underneath that says on, auto, or off. And it was on off. I thought it was on auto. So you can have it set so that it will go to sleep, basically. You leave it on auto, and if it doesn't detect a signal coming from the amplifier, it will go to sleep. And so I thought it was on auto, but it was on off. And I'm like, man, it's not working. And I knew I had it too long. It's been here too long, rather. It's past the time frame where I could just do an easy return. And I was already thinking I was going to have to contact Jamo customer support and get it RMA'd. But nevertheless, I put it on the right setting and it worked. So got that all dialed in, and it sounds great even though it's not in an ideal spot. The other Jamo speakers, the S803s, those definitely punch above their weight class. They sound great. You almost don't need a sub with them. Almost. If you're not used to the type of lows, the low frequencies that I was accustomed to because of my older speakers, you could go without a subwoofer with these. They have nice punchy bass. They do get pretty low as far as frequencies are concerned. Overall, I was pretty impressed with them because it took me a moment to realize that the sub wasn't working. And then, of course, once the sub was working, it's a huge difference. But initially, when I first started the music, I'm like, wait a minute. Initially, when I first started the music, like you almost couldn't tell. And then when it got to the point where I was next to the sub, then I could tell like there was really nothing coming from it. And so that's when I noticed that there was a problem. But that being said, the S803s, man, they punch above their weight class. Definitely, they're a good speaker. If you have a small space and you don't really need to have a subwoofer, I highly recommend them, especially at that price point. So, excellent speaker. The receiver itself is, I can't get over how good vinyl sounds. I can't, of course, all the vinyl I have is copyrighted music. I can't play it, and you wouldn't be able to tell really anyway through the microphone or the camera. But it just sounds so good. The vinyl sounds really good going through that receiver. That amplifier rather, and it's just I'm very happy with it. For the streaming music going through that amplifier, I did notice a little bit of a difference as compared to the Sony receiver, but not much. The bigger difference is with the vinyl. That's where I saw the most change in quality, or the feel of the music was way different when you're dealing with vinyl through the hybrid tube amp versus the Sony. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with it. I mean, if you're looking into getting a tube amplifier, but you're not quite sure, you don't want to spend the money for a Foley tube, but you don't really want to spend the money on a full tube amplifier because those are pretty pricey. And the speakers that you would need to pair with a full tube amp are also pretty pricey because full tube amplifiers don't put out a lot of power. So you need a real sensitive speaker, and those can be quite pricey. So if you're looking into it, but you're afraid to go all in, go the hybrid route. I think it sounds excellent, and it's a really good price point. You can find them anywhere between 150 to 250, in that price range, depending on what features you want. And the sound quality is great. It might not be as warm, or it doesn't have as much personality as a complete tube amplifier, but the quality is there, and it's noticeable. It's a very noticeable difference. So anyways, that being said, let's go ahead and check out my old setup that I'm removing, and I'll do a quick sound test so you guys can see, and so we have something to compare it off of. And unfortunately, I can't, like I've mentioned before, I can't use vinyl. I have to use not uncopyrighted music, and so I can't use any of my vinyl, unfortunately. So anyways, let's go ahead and do a test of the old stuff really quick. Alright, so here is the current setup. Those are the massive KLH speakers that I was talking about. There's my Sony. And there's my turntable right there. So it is the Sony STR D715. And then my turntable is Audio Technica AT LP 120. It is the USB direct drive. The Technics SL1200 lookalike. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a clone, but it is a lookalike. It's very similar to it. And the other KLH over there. And so this is the reason why I'm downgrading, is I need more shelf space. And so what I mean by downgrading, I meant downsizing. The whole idea is that I don't sacrifice on quality. So we're gonna do a little audio test here. This is copyright free music that if you search for this on Spotify, you can find copyright free music readily available. So this is the old Sony setup with the KLH speakers.
Sun is out here overseas. Dark emotions ever torn so deep, falling down through the clouds on, feeling you. Stay away from me.
Alright, so that was streaming from Spotify over Bluetooth to a Google Cast device. And so just to even the playing field, I will do the same once I get the new stuff set up. Alright, so as you can see, the stuff that I had existing is not exactly garbage. It's pretty nice stuff. It's old, definitely old, circa 93. So definitely old, but actually maybe it was 92. I should confirm that. But anyways, 92, 93, somewhere around there. But you know, it's not garbage. It still works really well. It still sounds really good. It's just big. I mean, you saw the size of those KLE speakers. They're massive. They take up a large chunk of real estate back here in my office. And I mean, that's space that I need for other things. And so unfortunately, they got to go. But so anyhow, all right. So now let's get a shot of the new stuff, and I'll show you how I have it set up. Again, the subwoofer, that's not where it's going to live. It's a temporary spot. Cable is too short. Everything else, that's pretty much how it's going to be. And I'll also do a sound comparison with the same uncopyrighted music, so you guys can get an idea of, you know, comparison of like what it sounds like compared to the old stuff. So let's go check it out. All right, so I have all the new stuff kind of set up temporarily in this spot. This isn't exactly how it's going to be laid out, but for the sake of a sound test, I think it will be fine. So the two Jamo 8, the two Jamo S803s right there. The receiver, the hybrid tube amp receiver, and the sub. That is not where the sub is going to live. This is just for the purpose of this test here. So this is streaming over Bluetooth, just like the other one. All right, so as you can see, it does get nice and loud. I didn't really have the volume up that high, as you could tell by the meters on the front, and it was pretty loud. And so the 50 watts per channel is more than enough, especially when you're dealing with a speaker like the S803. It drives them no problem. The subwoofer, of course, is powered, so that doesn't matter. And it's plenty loud enough. So going from the Sony, which was, I think, 300 watts total, 150 watts per channel, to something that was 50 watts per channel, not going to be an issue whatsoever. It's still plenty loud. Sound quality is excellent. The bass is nice and tight and punchy. And it does hit those lows with the subwoofer. It hits those lows that I'm accustomed to. And it's just a nice, clean sound. And the S803s stage and image very well, especially if you have them towed in a bit. They are excellent speakers as far as like staging and sound imaging. Excellent speaker for that. So I can't recommend them enough, especially if you're on a budget and this, or not necessarily on a budget, but maybe this is your first dip into HiFi and you're trying not to, you know, get too crazy with it. Start with something like the Jamo S803. Very good speaker, regardless of what type of receiver or amplifier, you know, what kind of DAC you decide to use. The S803 is a nice entry-level speaker. Very good sound quality, very good staging, very good imaging for its price point. All right, so that being said, I am very happy with my new setup. And I mean, I can't wait to see how the sub sounds once I get a long enough cable and I place it in the corner of the room where it should go. I think it's going to sound even better. It already sounds pretty awesome where it is now, which is a terrible spot for it, but it still, sounds pretty good. I just can't wait to get it placed where it needs to go. Other than that, sounds awesome. I'm very happy with it. And I'm glad that I made the decision that I did to go with the Jamo S803s. And I'm also very glad that I decided to go with the hybrid tube amplifier. I do not regret it at all. Okay, that's all I have for this one. Thank you again for stopping by. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and feed that algorithm. I hope you have a great afternoon. And like always, thank you for watching.